stand for the pledge again?
If you want to. For me.
We can, who would like, yes, Bob would like us to. And Bob, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Kirby, will you please take the roll?
My chair rolled away. Okay, let's see, trustee Delmar. Here. Trustee McNeil.
Here.
Trustee Larson.
Here.
Trustee DeGrove.
Here.
Supervisor Rush.
Here.
Also in attendance is Clerk Kirby, Attorney Dietz, and Commissioner Kula. I have to use it.
Okay, we have approval of minutes.
2 sets.
We have 2 sets. The first set we have is, let me get back to it, is the monthly board meeting minutes from March 10th of 2014. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I so moved.
Do I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want you to note there was a correction sent in by Assessor Ditton, and instead of personal service, it's personnel service, so that
Under what
was
number?
corrected, 12. I couldn't find it, but I've got it in the new one already done.
Oh, I see, second line.
Yeah.
In the third
It's
paragraph.
personnel service.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right, and we have a second set of minutes.
Thank you.
Kathy, Lisa, all. Okay, that should go here. Next, we have the Committee of the Whole minutes from April 1st of 2014. Can I vote on this since I was here electronically?
Yes.
Okay. All right, can I get a motion to approve the Committee of the Whole minutes?
So moved.
Do I get a second?
Second.
All right, you'll have to do a roll on this one because, well, no, I guess you don't have to, because
She could
Lisa,
vote on it.
because she read it?
She could vote on it because she talked to somebody that was there. I mean, she
Okay.
can still vote on it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving along, we have our reports. And you have my reports. Our phone calls are down, but as of maybe this week, we are starting to get, we're wondering why our phone calls were down and we weren't getting a lot of people asking for assistance, but we found out that the gas and electric companies were not shutting people off until right about now. So as their bills are coming out, they are getting shut off notices. They extended it because of the long winter. So we are now starting to get those. My other reports are in the, well, it's not there. We only have one, just that one. He didn't give you the other reports? That's okay. That would be the reports from Dave, because I have other reports usually in there.
No, they said this is the only one we got.
Okay, that's all I have then, I guess. Verbal reports, as I said, I attended a meeting on just the other day for the Lake County Forum on Poverty, and they discussed that one of the things that we realized is the state of Illinois and the state of Arkansas are the only states that do not have a 211 system. Does anybody know what the 211 system is? Okay, Jeannie does because I explained it to her. Does everybody know what 411 is when you dial it on your
Yeah.
phone? Well, I guess in every other state, but ours in Arkansas, 211 is a number that you call, get 24-hour service, and you can find out ways to get help if you need it. It's like a helpline, but it's called the 211. We had a representative from Congressman Schneider at our table, and he was there to take notes, and I says, write that one down and find out why us in Arkansas, we can't be in the same lump as Arkansas, so you have to help us out there. I just said, why is it just us in Arkansas? So that was one of the things that we did. Let's see what else. I think that's about it. Our Meals on Wheels is actually starting tomorrow, and another thing that I'm going to do tomorrow, Thursday, is attend a luncheon with Jeannie for retired teachers to talk about township services.
Robin.
And Robin is attending as well. Assessor Ditton is out of town, and so I had asked Robin if she would be able to attend, and Assessor Ditton was all for it and even gave her some materials to bring along to explain the process. That's all I have. Highway Commissioner Fula.
I think I talked about everything at the annual meeting. You see on your top of your monthly report, the cost there for that project on Burleson. And it says, Burleson Nielsen. So they're actually working on Burleson right now. That's the first street they're doing. Actually, I already have the main line in. So now they're putting in what they call the laterals that go across the street to complete the drainage. And then we'll start over on Nielsen, and then they'll start, demoing the actual road. And because I explained it before, they're cutting about a foot out of that hill over on Burleson to make that road more visible. And again, Lisa, I want to say thanks again, because getting the easement agreements for this project's been really difficult, because we have a lot of homes that are rentals. So hunting down the property owners can be really tough. There's been a little bit of a language barrier for me, so Lisa's been very kind to, at a moment's notice, I'll call the office and I'll say I need Lupe, and Lupe comes out and really just makes it happen. And the fact that she's a notary, so we can bridge that language barrier. We get the notary signed, we get the job done, so thank you for that. It really made a difference, because otherwise I'd be, even if I did get the commitment from the sign the easement agreement, then I have to, okay, let's set up a time and then get them over there, so now we can get it all done, boom, it's done, and we move on. So with that, we're actually, I believe we have one more easement agreement to go, and we're done. So for Nielsen, and we're a few weeks away from that, and they've already, the homeowners have already committed to it, so we're good. So anyway, that was that, and then at the bottom there, you'll see we put down, right now, up to date, we put about 12,000 pounds of coal patch down so far, because of the severe winter. We have a lot of potholes out there, so we did that, and trucks all had their safety inspections, and I guess I mentioned earlier, we're doing a little work for the ball field right now, to help them out, and that's about it for the moment. Okay.
All right.
Just for.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to that right now. We skipped number 5, which I apologize. It's public participation on agenda items. Would any of the public like to make any comments on the agenda items?
That would be me. I will make a comment. Do I need to sign in separately?
It's okay. But you can sign later.
Okay. Well, I'm walking over this way, so. One of the agenda items tonight is the food pantry account. Thank you very much. And I would love to hear that the board is going to transfer the funds from that account over to the food pantry. Just a reminder, $1 buys 8 pounds of food, so that would be a lot of help to the food pantry to get food and to get it to the community who really needs it. So please consider that when you are voting on that item.
Thank you, Ann. Assessor's report. He has, I have March and April, so I don't know what line it's, okay. The April,
March is covered in minutes.
oh, right, okay, sorry. All right, April's report, let's see, senior freeze applications were mailed, Marty was in the office, and let's just say that man was a mean, green, filling out senior freeze application machine. He did, an amazing job over there. And once again, when he would get, he would need assistance with Hispanic-speaking people, Lupe hopped over there to help him. He did an amazing, great job in running the office while they were out of town. We already talked, the county's they're gonna be holding 2 workshops in Avon Townships who need help, and that's great, because he's utilizing both ends of our spectrum. He's doing the Grays Lake Park District and the Round Lake Area Park District. He is, it appears, and I don't even think I should, well, we'll give it to him. The Senate Bill 3503, which is the one for the, revises the property tax code. I guess that's yeah, that's fine. He's working with Marty Paulson, Representative Sam Yingling, State Senator Pam Altoff, and Assessor Jerry Barr from Grant Township. That revises the property tax code for a more transparent assessment system and a system that better promotes uniformity of assessments, especially at the Board of Review level. Sitting down with Assessor Ditton, there is a huge portion of assessor bills that right now, one person goes through them and decides yes or no without having to respond to anybody else. And this bill will help that along, and it revises it so that the assessment system is a little more transparent. And that's the end of his report. And that would bring us to Clerk Kirby.
You have a very short report. It's self-explanatory. The only thing I want to do is if you turn to the, we had a couple of FOIAs, we did those. But if you move to the volunteer, remember I talked to you last time about changing the coding. I did meet with Wendy. Because we deal with all different kinds of volunteers in community service, it was important to reflect the type of reporting we have to make. So a V is truly a volunteer, one that is at their own discretion and at the township's discretion. Sometimes it is a student volunteer, sometimes it is adults that just want to help. The C is for community service, those people that are asked to volunteer to lessen a fee or some kind of action against them through the courts, and we do that through teen court as well as through the 19th district. You'll notice there's a new one, a T. That's a TANF employee, and TANF is a government program that allows people that are on public aid to give back to what they get by working in areas that are like food pantries and different areas of service. And so they get a little bit of salary to have offset the amount of money that they get for public aid. And they love their TANF employees over at the township, at the food pantry. So that's a different kind of reporting, so we mark that as a T. And so right now that meets our needs, and we get every week we get a new person to volunteer. As you can tell, it's growing leaps and bounds, and we've closed out a couple, so that's all well and good.
Jeannie, just while you're on that,
Yes.
you said completed, and you got yes, closed, 12, what, now, but you got this TANF, what?
TANF never really officially closed.
Okay,
They continue service as long as they're on public.
will they keep that same, I see you got a number, applicant ID, that number will stay with them, and say they volunteer maybe this month and maybe 6 months from now, that'll be the same number then?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, once they're allocated a number, we keep that number for any kind of action. The only thing that may change is the code. We've had a couple of people that have done their community service and finished their community service, but still want to volunteer. So then we change their code from a C to a V, but they maintain their number. Because all of their private records and the reasons why they came here and the application are all under them,
So that number will stay with them as long as
as
they're,
long as they have service here.
I found my other reports there in the one thing. These are my reports, yeah. My other 2 reports, which talks about the people that come into the office and the general assistance home relief expenditure grant is in
That's stuck in
section,
the bills.
in front of section 8. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mention the wrong one.
So that's That's it in a nutshell. We do have a FOIA that has asked us to get records from 1991. We have sought some support from the banks for that, but we're working on it. Everything's well and good in the clerk's office.
Sounds good. Is there any trustee reports? Hearing none. We'll go on to the food pantry report. And do you mind that I read that report since Wendy's not here? Thank you. All right, I'll just generally go over it. In March of 2014, they served 2,055 clients. That represents 559 families. 442 of those families have children 18 years and younger. They have a huge list of thanking people for their appreciation of assistance. In the month of March, they were open for 97 hours. Wendy is going to be attending some training in April to ensure that they're taking full advantage of retail food salvage programs. Pantry updates. They continue to interview each of their volunteers to get their perspective about what works well in the pantry and what would they like to change, what they think the food pantry needs to make things work smoother. In addition, they did a whole list of things that are there as well. They finally were able to get rid of the 50-pound bags of Oreo cookie crumbs that they've been trying to get rid of. Gave it to Tasty Freeze in Graysley. If you have, I know on our last meeting we had a tour of it, but it has again significantly changed. Where you walk in and it's more efficient than the last time you were there. So once again, if you ever have any need to volunteer or want to volunteer and have some time, please sign up, feel free and do so. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, tell your friends, tell your family, volunteers are always helpful.
Yes.
Money's good too.
All right, and that's the end of the reports. Number 7, discussion and action on food pantry contract and food pantry account.
You were all emailed, just before Jerry starts, you were all emailed copies from Attorney Deeds for the different agreements.
So which one do we want to start with?
Attorney Deeds, take it away.
Well, there are 3 of them. There's the lease, there's the service agreement, and then there's the personnel staffing agreement. It's my recommendation that we do them all together. That way they can all end at that same date, so that you don't have like a 3-month overlap where maybe you decide that you're gonna get a different 501c3, whatever the case may be.
I just meant discussion.
I'm just doing the overview.
Okay.
So I don't know which one you wanna start with. The lease, again, as we talked about in the committee, the whole, it's just a standard lease. I recommended that rather than go a year, we go up until July 31st and then a year from that. So that was one change that I did make. For the most part, that is their draft, so they won't have any changes to it. Since I've revised the agreements, though, I've sent them to them. I haven't heard back. I think it's because Tim's on vacation too.
Yeah,
But
he's on vacation. So.
so if you do approve them, you authorize Lisa to sign them, subject to legal review again, in case they do come back with a couple minor changes, but I really don't think so. And it's all free stuff given to them, so it's really hard for them to say no. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. So I didn't find any problems with the lease.
No? And the second portion?
Well, actually, let me go, we'll go to the service agreement. This will be the form service agreement that we will use with all of our agencies. That's why you see all the check boxes there.
Yeah,
It's the one from Ansel Link. I think it works well. I read it after the meeting last week and decided that this is the one we should use because we're gonna be using this for everybody. And it seems to fit perfect for this. So,
Let's see what I
Again, this is just another one of the standard contracts that is typically used for this type of thing.
are you talking about the personnel one or the service agreement?
The service agreement.
The service agreement, yeah, it's one that the townships use. I actually got it from Kerry Lynn.
Okay.
Any discussion on the service agreement?
I did have one, but I can't. Payment for services. Oh. We have no for service.
Right, and there's two choices there, the lump sum, which we
Oh, yeah,
we would need
that's
to
one of
figure out
those
what that
first
lump sum is.
Yeah.
Or there's the quarterly, which we
So
still
we-
need to figure out the lump sum. And actually, going back to the lease agreement, I don't have the square footage for the building back there, so we'll have to add that on too.
So do we have to decide that now?
Well, if you're gonna enter them all tonight, yeah, you'll have to figure out how much you wanna give.
Yeah, so, yeah, we have to have a discussion.
Currently, the amount that's in the account is $59,338.75.
So we have to decide if we wanna give it to them as a lump sum or in quarterly payments.
Do we know how that will impact them? Will the difference impact them at all? Do you know what I'm saying, like with their buying power?
No, because a portion of it is being used to staff an employee, so they won't obviously need 30,000 to pay the employee right up front. They'll pay them
Right.
however they pay them. So it wouldn't be a problem to do it that way, but I believe and I'm going back to the committee of the whole meeting did we decide that up till July 31st?
Well, we can start it as of August first, because
Okay,
that'll clear their 1 year being in existence, which we determined was somewhere around July 24th or something.
okay.
Anytime after July 24th, you can enter into that service agreement with them. So that's why I have August 1st on the agreement.
Do you have a recommendation as to quarterly versus yearly?
I do not.
Okay.
Well, I kind of do. Again, going with what I said last week, we don't know where the money came from. I would just rather wipe the slate clean and get rid of it, because, you know, they still have their reporting requirements to you, and, you know, they're still right here. But, and again, if you have a little hesitation, then, you know, the quarterly payments would be fine too.
I would favor giving them a lump sum, just to give them kind of the seed money, whatever they need to get going. I mean, we're going to give it to them,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I would favor quarterly at best. I'm not too keen on the whole thing to begin with. Been some attitudes. I was even at the cow meeting, and the letters are written. Still got a little more, showed a little more good faith to me before I hand over all that money.
I would tend to agree with Bill that I think quarterly would be the way to do it.
and then we still have to determine the aggregate sum, because we're going to reduce that fund by the amount of the staffing agreement that we're going to potentially enter into for X to Y. So some of that money, some of that fund would get burned down in that process.
Yeah, I think Dave estimated that the 4 months would be around 12,000 last week. So I don't know if you just want to round the figures off, and, you know, if you're off by 1,000 or 2, then it's not a huge issue. And there'll be some lag time between when you enter it and actually when we actually hire somebody and start paying them too, so that'll make up some of that 12,000 if you just want to round it.
So we'd be looking at 47.5, if we're gonna round very smoothly and generally.
47,338.
Yeah, I was just going in a more smooth end.
Okay.
I was with you.
And ultimately, when it comes up on that last payment, you guys can decide, hey, we've got
Right.
an extra $300 left in the account, let's just give the rest to them.
Okay.
Or if you're gonna be short, then you'll have to decide whether you're gonna make it up from the town fund, which is fine too at that point.
All right, that's the service agreement that we're still discussing, and then the staffing agreement.
Right, the staffing agreement, we created the position of, I think what I call food pantry coordinator. It could be out of the supervisor's office, that way the supervisor can work with Wendy as to hiring the employee without having to go back and forth to the board. And it's a 4-month temporary employee, so. We'll have to also discuss with Wendy about the, you know, I don't know if you wanna, and this, because it's gonna be through the supervisor's office, if there's sick time involved, whatever those issues are. And I also added to their agreement that the township does not make up the hours when that employee is not in the food pantry because of sick time or time off or they quit or whatever.
And under the, I believe it's under the service agreement about who is on the board, is that correct?
It's in one of them. I don't remember which
I think
one.
it's under the service agreement. And right now they have just the supervisor. Does anybody
But I
have?
understand they don't even have that, right? Because all I see is the board members, there's 3 of them here.
Yeah,
Well, that's when they, when this is all signed, then they'll
They have
add
okay.
somebody else to it.
So,
And my suggestion,
yeah, we were talking
is to make it the supervisor and, one other board member. Just in case I, as the supervisor, am unable to attend a meeting, it makes sense to be able to have somebody else attend the meeting as well.
And I don't know how they've got it for a tie, right now it'll be fine, you put one more on there, and you could end up in a tie, I don't know who makes or they have just 3 vote. I've never seen their bylaws, so whoever's the president doesn't vote unless they break the tie. I mean, the way it sits now, it'd be all right, but if you put just one more person on the board, they could easily have a tie. I would like to see them change the bylaws to have 3 whatever and 2.
Well, unfortunately, we can't tell them to change their bylaws.
Well, they're gonna have to change them anyway.
agreement.
Contingent.
Yeah.
Certainly.
The
Yeah.
service agreement on that.
I think they should put at least 2 members of the township board on their foundation. Then you don't have a tie, because it's 5 people.
Right,
I think that's exactly what we were just saying.
yeah.
Okay.
No, she was kinda saying, what I got from Lisa's.
Both, it's actually both.
Well, you were saying in case I can't make a
Make it there,
meeting,
yeah.
Chris, whoever
Mhm.
could be your replacement for that
Right.
meeting. I'm saying they need at least 2
Vote.
members on it. So they have 5 people voting on whatever they vote on,
Right,
there's 5 people, so there's never a tie.
okay, I would agree, so.
And my suggestion earlier when we were discussing it was the supervisor and one other elected official. That way in case, maybe the clerk or highway commissioner or assessor
Right.
or,
Whoever.
yeah.
Whoever, yeah, it's not
And it
locked
would
into
go-
a position
it would-
except for supervisor.
It would go whoever is in 3 years from now, this board's gonna change again, and I would have it so it would be, it
An
won't be
elected official.
the elected
Yeah,
officials that
yeah.
are standing.
Right, we
in.
don't have specific names in there, it's listed as supervisor of Avon Township, and then I would suggest another elected official of Avon Township.
Right, that'd be your way to word it.
Right, so that we can word it so that, like, if we specifically wrote Lisa DeLamar, then in 4 years, if she's not a trustee again, then she would still be on it,
Or
but
we
we'd
can
lose a spot.
rotate it on a
Yeah.
yearly basis or
Yeah,
whatever, so
we can do something
each
like that.
person on the board gets to sit on that board for
Right.
a year.
Yeah, I really like this.
But we need that worded into the agreement that Jerry's working with, right?
Just make it contingent
Right.
on that, which shouldn't be a big deal. They've got a 5-member board now. 2 of the seats are open, so they just need to change the bylaws to add the other elected official here, and that seems simple enough.
That'd be more agreeable with that.
Okay. So you can add that.
Even if we don't put it in the agreement, we can just make that, our whole agreement contingent on them doing that.
Okay.
So do we need a vote? for
Well,
the-
I think we need to vote on all 3 of them.
And the,
Well, let's do the agreement separately, and
Okay,
you're
so vote on the
authorizing
lease
Lisa to sign
agreement.
them, subject to legal approval, that way I can make some minor changes here and there.
Okay, so let's start with the lease agreement. Do I have a motion to approve the lease agreement with the Avon Township Community Foundation?
I so move.
I'll second.
And that's be starting at what date then, when you said, the 1st of August,
August
that's starting
first.
immediately?
No, that starts
right now.
as soon as
Starts right
they,
now.
they sign the lease.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that starts now.
And this is contingent on, the other two agreements and the provision that they had elected official.
Right, and that would be a yearly, you know, yearly lease?
It's yearly after July
July
31st
31st.
of next year, yeah.
I have a couple details about the staffing agreement.
We're not there yet,
Okay.
we're almost there.
All right.
Okay, now we're up to the service agreement.
Motion's been made.
Motion
Oh,
made.
I'm sorry. Is there any other discussion on that? Okay, call vote, please.
Trustee Delamar,
Aye.
trustee McNeil,
Aye.
trustee Larson,
Aye.
trustee DeGrove,
Aye.
supervisor Rush.
Aye. Do I have a motion to approve the service agreement with the contingency?
I'll make the motion and we can discuss.
Second.
Sorry, discussion.
Oh, mine's on the staffing
Okay.
agreement.
Okay. No discussion? Please.
And the service agreement, sorry. Aggregate sum not to exceed $47,500.
Whatever that number ends up being, just, it shouldn't exceed that based on Dave's estimate at this point.
Right, and then the motion also needs to include whether it's quarterly or lump sum.
Mm-hmm.
Is it quarterly or lump sum? What's your motion?
I'll make it quarterly.
Quarterly.
My second will stand.
Right. Any other discussion? Please call roll.
Trustee McNeil,
Aye.
trustee Larson,
Aye.
trustee DeGrove,
Aye.
trustee Delamar,
Aye.
supervisor Rush.
Aye.
Can I get that figure again, Chris, 47 what?
47.5.
Now we're up to the stamping agreement.
There's some, just like typos and numbering problems and, on number 3, duties of the township, it reads, the township shall, and then it starts another sentence. The parties shall work together to determine regular hours for the pantry and schedule any vacation time. I question the wording, the parties shall work together, is that legally?
I think you're looking at a copy that is not actually Microsoft Word commented properly, because there's strikeouts and other things that are highlighted that the word editor is handling properly that you're not seeing through that translation.
Okay, so,
Technology in motion.
okay,
Does that help?
yeah, it does. Well, no, that's still, okay, okay. Yeah, there are a lot more words that don't show up on mine. Okay. So the typo, strike the typo, but I'm questioning the wording. The parties shall work together to determine regular hours. So legally, are they required to work with us on hours, or it's
Well,
just to their discretion?
It's for this 4-month temporary position that's hired by the supervisor. So yeah, they're gonna work together to figure out what the hours are, time off, things like that. For 4 months, somebody's gonna call in sick a few times, she's gonna have to figure out, how much sick time are we giving this person?
A shall work together could be as global as Lisa looking at Wendy and saying, yeah, go ahead, whatever.
That
It could
be.
be as narrow as, well, if they're calling in sick, I need to know, why they're out, get a doctor's note and everything. It could be either
Yeah.
way.
Well, I didn't know if it was strong enough or not.
Well, the word shall is as strong as we can get, and let's say
So
that
you
Wendy
can't
walks away and
require-
says, oh, I don't wanna do that, then, she's not working together with the supervisor's office, so then she'll have to come back here and say, we've come to an impasse.
Mediated,
Yes.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be over fast.
Can I say that again?
By all means.
Thanks. Oh, I felt so good that I downloaded it.
I'm sure you did a wonderful job, Kathy. Just your computer.
Let's see, 7. Okay. Yeah, like all this blue stuff didn't show up on mine. Okay.
See, and here's me being, and this is where we're being fiscally responsible,
Yeah.
is I didn't wanna print. Jeannie wanted to print out, and she goes, it's 25 pages long. I go, you are not printing out a 25-page thing for every single person on the board. She's like, well, I go, electronically send it to everyone.
And I thought this version was good because it shows the corrections that I made throughout the process too.
Okay. It's, okay. Because I'm a little confused, I did not find in my copy a mention of how many hours a staff person will work.
That
Where
is
is
at
it?
the discretion of them.
Okay.
If they only give her 12 hours, I doubt that will happen, but, and do you have is there any indication as to how many hours they're dropping the hours in the food pantry down to?
We don't know yet.
Okay,
There's a lot of unknowns right now.
okay. I wouldn't want, I mean, the salary that we're handing over isn't one to, it's not a very high salaried amount, so I don't foresee it to, I mean, it's enough to help the person out, but it's not enough to, be there, for 40 hours, so.
Yeah,
If I can jump in on that, the goal is to keep the food pantry open as many hours as we can. But given salary limitations, we wanna make those hours the best hours to serve the people. So it may be 40 hours that the person's working, but not all 40 of those hours will be servicing people because there's the unloading and ordering and
yeah,
stocking the
back
shelves,
work.
some of the behind the scenes work. But the idea is to have it open as much as we can.
To make them a full-time person, not to just, decide that just randomly pay them $30,000 for just coming in 6 hours a week, right?
Okay. Those were all my questions. The staffing agreement.
Is there any other discussion on that? All right, did we have a motion to approve the staffing agreement?
Not yet.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the staffing agreement?
I so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any other discussion? Jeannie, please call.
Trustee Delmar,
Aye.
trustee McNeil,
Alright.
trustee Larson,
Aye.
trustee DeGrove,
Aye.
supervisor Rush.
Aye. There we go. Moving forward, Ann, we are. She's busy. We're moving forward, it's a good thing. All right, next is the discussion and action on the Lake County Health Lease Agreement, which you have listed in there. The current health department currently serves elder, teens, and adults. They are moving out as of 2 days from today, and they're going to be taking over with the young teens and children. So it will be the Lake County mental health for the children and young adults. So they increased their rent by 1.7%, effective on the anniversary date of May 1st, 2014. This is just something that we need to approve every year, and last year they went up, I believe it was 1.5%, and this year they went up 1.7%.
Is there gonna be a time that there's gonna be nobody, and we're gonna kinda clean that place up? Or is there
That's
gonna
what
be
I had
somebody?
asked them, and they said they're fine with everything. On the 10th, they're gonna be completely out of there, they're closing, so I will probably go through the building, to go through and look at things, and make sure that everything is in pretty good shape.
They don't want it fixed up before the new.
That's what I asked them, I said, this was something that we were going to be doing, and they said that the building has served them well and is in, there was a small problem with leaking in the winter, but we had that fixed, and they said other than that, they have had no problems, which is why they don't wanna give up the space.
No fresh paint or anything like that. Good tenants.
Yeah,
Okay then.
I appreciate it.
So I said I wanted to replace some.
Please increase the amount that we're supposed to give you. We don't want anything in return.
Right, we've never asked them to increase their monthly rent, they just automatically do that. Right, do I get a motion to approve the Lake County Health Department lease?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
And officially, it says authorize the supervisor to sign the lease.
Sign the lease, right. Do I have a second? Kathy
Second.
seconded? All right, any other discussion? All right, clerk Kirby?
Trustee McNeil,
Aye.
trustee Larson,
Aye.
trustee DeGrove,
Aye.
trustee Delmar,
Aye.
supervisor Rush.
Aye. Pretty. All right, the next one, I believe we are not doing, is that correct?
Well, there is no ordinance yet. They did send us the appraisal as to how much they thought it was worth. The process is they'll have to then go and make us an official offer, and they'll actually drop a lease or an easement agreement too, to coincide with that. And I think it was the 29,000 is what the
Yes.
appraisal amount was.
Mhm.
So that's most likely going to be their offer to us, is what it was appraised for. And I don't know if that's good or bad, or anything.
I will tell you that it was an appraisal that was done in 2000, was it 10 or 11?
I think, yeah, it was 11.
It was 11. So everybody's been noticing 2011 was, is it, you know, but I have heard from various people that that's a good number, because the amounts that they're currently giving are, if you go back to them for a new appraisal, they're usually lower. They're also paying on that lease for the moving of the sign, and,
That was amazing.
yeah, we had requested that, because that could be costly, so they are paying for the moving of the big sign outside, and they will re-landscape around it, I think she said is what they'll do, so, and the flagpole. So, I think that is all good.
And if they were to condemn it, they'd actually have to pay what appraisal amount would be, so, right, it's,
All right, so do we need to approve the appraisal amount? Nothing?
you know, as long as everybody's
All right,
aware. of
it's
what it
just
is.
an FYI for everybody, it was something that I thought that we could move forward, but she says that they have to wait for their meeting in May, and then after their meeting in May, we will, get an, ordinance so that we can approve it.
But notice the fancy maps you all
Oh,
got.
mine is
Aren't
stuck.
they pretty? Yeah, hold on to them, because we're not gonna make you copies like this again. We need to preserve, we need to save that color ink.
Bob, could we just have you bring your big map over from the office, cause his would go
They got
across the
whole wall.
wall.
All right, the next thing on the agenda is something that is very standard that's been happening. The township has a life and accidental death and dismemberment policy, and the policy provided each insured $25,000 life insurance at a cost of $880 on life, it's $995 a month. The rate has not changed since May of 2010. This year, there is a slight increase by 7.4% in the life insurance portion of the policy, and the rate will go from $880 to $945. Currently, there are 13 officials/employees covered by this group plan. For the budgeting purposes, the lines were calculated on a 10% increase, so this is fine within that budget. There is no special paperwork that needs to be done, and if coverage is to continue, we just pay our May 14th invoice. As Dave was talking to them, and we were talking to somebody else in regards to insurance, this is a really good rate. All right, so do I get a motion to approve the renewal of the life and accidental death and dismemberment policy?
So moved.
Do I get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? And without a discussion, Clerk Kirby.
Just a second, make a note. Let's see, trustee DeGrove,
Yes.
trustee Delmar,
Aye.
trustee McNeil,
Aye.
trustee Larson,
Aye.
supervisor Rush,
Aye.
motion carried.
Good, okay, very good job. Now we are down to bill payments. Here's my agenda, I'll just take it out so I can.
Abby?
All right, we have our prepaid bills. Do I get a motion to approve the prepaid bills?
So moved.
Do I get a second? And discussion.
You guys are just moving so fast today. I can't flip the pages. Prepaid. And that was Larson and Delmar, right?
Is there any discussion on the prepaid bills? Hearing none, I would like to point out, if you look under this, look under the total amount on the town fund. We had $9,152.88. If you look under the amount of the supervisor GA, that comes to about $7,300. If you look under the amount for permanent hard road, it's $18,800. And if you look under the amount of the assessor, it's $20,000. I just want to point that out. All right, since there is no discussion, and can I get a roll call, please?
Trustee DeGrove,
Yes.
trustee Delmar,
Aye.
trustee McNeil, trustee Larson,
Aye.
supervisor Rush.
Aye. All right, now we are up to the outstanding bills. Can I get a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
I get a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion. Let's go.
Yeah.
Now, where do you start? I hope everybody had a chance to look over the bills. I once again sent the assessor an email because he submitted, reimbursement for his entire office for, continuing education. However, if you look at your report, if we did not submit all of them, because if we did, we would have been over by, where is that?
A lot.
A lot. We would, yeah, that's right, let's just say, it's a lot. So I had asked him what he wanted to do, and his response didn't make any sense, because he said to pay, one person, and if there was enough to pay the person, and he was going in reverse order of seniority within his office, and, when one of his persons submitted a receipt and a check, we went with the one who submitted the receipt and the check that she had already paid it. So hers came out first, and then we went in seniority down. His per diem and lodging is also, it's under, but if he keeps up where he's going,
It's his choice.
I understand that, I'm just letting you know. Any other discussion on this?
You know, you might wanna mention the Fremont assessor's note, because of their budget meeting.
Yeah, I should mention that. I wanted to see how other townships ran their budget meeting, kind of like a little learning experience, and I went to Fremont's. And when they were going through their budget, they had a note from their assessor. And their assessor literally said this on the note: if by chance you need to move money out of my budget for other things, please go ahead and do so. He wasn't there. He gave them free rein on his budgets. I was kind of flabbergasted by that. Because even without being there, they could have moved money around, and he trusted their judgment as to, and that is the job of this board, is to set that budget. So, and their assessor was fully aware that that is the job.
If we approve these bills like we've got the motion on the floor, and I see he's over on a continuing, is that figured in the bills that he's going to be over then on that line item, if we pay him?
Yes.
Not much.
Is that over in that whole budget year, or just over?
Over on the whole
Whole budget
budget year.
Yeah, because then you'll have to decide where you're gonna take it out of.
We'll have to, but then we have to have an ordinance for that, right, to move it?
Just the resolution.
Right,
Right, because he still has other classes to take. And he also requested, and I know we had a discussion about this, but he also requested to go to Topics Day. With the transparency of this budget, Chris, I believe that his topics day should come out of his, you know, his budget.
Yep, what's the cost on that? For topics registration?
What was it, 75, we paid $225 for the three of us, so.
Yeah, I think that's already included on his
Yeah.
piece of this, if I recall.
Okay. So, I mean, he said why.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so it should still come out of, because we've separated it out. We want everybody to know where
Did he-
everything is coming from.
Excuse
He
me.
currently doesn't have any money to attend.
Was that already paid to us, topics day?
That's
No.
one of the bills we're considering today,
Yes,
So, okay.
but that's included in the
It's
number.
included at 1577.
No, it's actually on 5-12-545 as a conference or convention, which is,
But that's only $75.
right, that's the TOI fee for him, for his office, or for him to go.
What about, was he taking staff or just him?
just him,
Just
the
him.
topic stage.
So he's fine on that one then?
But we also need, yeah, you will
He's
also.
still got
need
some
to-
room for per diem and mileage and stuff like that, so.
But you
he's-
will also need to know that he is required to take one more class. As the board, if he doesn't tell us where to move it from, you as the board, as Jerry just said, will have to figure out where to move it from.
And that class runs around $350, give or
Yes.
take.
Well, you still have that
In the
Well,
conferences.
in the conferences one then. He's gonna have to decide, or we have to decide
If he doesn't make the decision, then you have to make the decision.
to make that 5-12-541. And he's gonna have to figure out, does he need any more in there to see where he can take that out of that budget somewhere else to make that line item work. So he
And
needs to
if
sit
you
down.
look on top, of your
I think-
personnel services, he's already going out of whack up there too.
I guess, I'm looking at the professional development piece right now, which is what we're talking about in terms of these bills that are being paid immediately. You know, he's got some wiggle room within there, assuming he's going to deal with the basic travel that he needs to handle and his one additional class and topics day. I think, you know, he's leaving himself, you know, $2,500 to finish out the year for local travel for the most part. I think that's pretty reasonable. He can move stuff around within that area pretty readily. But, you know, if that's the way he wants to distribute his money, that's the way we should allow him to distribute his money.
There were two other bills that were not submitted.
I have those here, well, because they're not part of the motion.
Okay. Well, they were bills that were submitted, but we couldn't even run them through the system because it would have brought the budget over.
Correct. It's $670, of which $640 was 512-541, and $30 was 512-544. Unfortunately, that was going to bring up the 541
That'd be way over that.
way over. Now, I believe he had one that was coded in there that was, he had asked for it to come out of conferences and conventions, which is 545, and it was paid out of 541. You know, if he wants to consider that a conference or a convention for one of his employees, I guess he has that right to say that's where he wants it to come out of.
Well, those are bills that we couldn't put through the system because they would bring the budget year over.
Well, you can also, tonight, take them out of that, make that decision. He was given the opportunity to decide. If you guys decide that, yes, this would be appropriate to come out of there, you can approve them tonight and let him know that that line item has now been reduced by those two bills that he submitted.
And he's still got the money there.
Yeah, if we were to approve the $640 portion out of the 545 account, he's still well within that $1,000 budget that he's got there. The $30 for the luncheon certainly falls into that $300 to $400 balance he has left in 544.
Did you say that was line 545?
545
Okay,
for $640,
yeah, I got it.
544 for $30. And it looked like he had that intent on one of the submissions that he had placed in.
What do we do with
Can we break those accounts up?
541?
Pardon?
What do we do with the 540? Well, we'll have to deal with that
Move
next month. 'cause we
78,
gotta-
well, you
we gotta
have to
get a
move
resolution.
$78 from somewhere.
Well, we'll have to have
Yes.
it's already
We
been
do.
done, so we'll have to get, next
Mhm.
month we have, when they go over a line item budget, do we have a certain amount of time to rectify that or not?
You know, we haven't passed the budget appropriation ordinance yet, so you
Oh,
can
that's
always
true.
just
Just true.
adjust it
Right now.
when you pass it,
Okay.
and then you don't need to do anything.
True.
Mhm.
Okay,
So
we'll
we'll have
just
to
adjust it.
make a note of that, especially you, Chris, because you've been working so close with it.
Yep.
Excuse me, to make a note of that we'll have to make sure we raise that up and take it from somewhere else. And,
And just let him know
Let him
that
know.
this is what we decided because he didn't make a
Right.
decision.
he doesn't wanna come here and speak his piece, then we'll speak it for him.
All right, so with the bill payment, the two bills that couldn't get paid because they would make it, the line item over, are we approving within this, motion to pay those out of the, 512,545 for 640 and 512,544 for 30?
I'd like to amend my motion to reflect that.
Okay. Is Steve
My
set?
second stands with his amendment. Mhm.
Okay.
And just a little more discussion on it, I mean, we could have done it, changed the budget, but then I don't know where you'd take it, so I think this is a little cleaner way of doing it.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. All right. Any other discussion on the outstanding bills? Hearing none. Clerk Kirby?
Trustee DeGrove,
Aye.
trustee Delmar,
Aye.
trustee McNeil,
Aye.
trustee Larson,
Aye.
supervisor Rush.
Aye. All right, we are up to old business. Anybody have any old business to discuss?
We do record those?
Yeah,
Oh, that was a record those.
yeah.
That was right.
My notes were just in the wrong place.
Anybody have any old business? Going once? Going twice? How about any new business?
Going over the bills, we pay $94 every 2 weeks for rugs.
We had to add we had to add another rug out there, because we had one by the door and then one by the other door, but we had to add a second one in there because of the slipperiness, if it was snowy and wet. There were several staff members that, just jokingly, we would watch on the camera as they slid, whoosh.
Well, as a housekeeping item and as a way, would it be worth our while to look into purchasing our own rugs and maintaining
Because they
them
take
ourselves?
those and clean them unless you're gonna take them home and wash them
No,
in the
you have
washing
to
machine.
you have to power wash them.
Yeah,
And you have to use them like rugs, but I had a catering hall and we bought our own. Now, we had thousands of people go through there. You can get them like at Sam's Club and stuff like that. I'm just saying,
that was just,
almost $200 a month to have those rugs out there. We should just resurface the vestibule so that it's like, it's beautiful, but it's not really an entranceway material. I don't know, just food for thought,
okay.
and trim
We've been-
$200 from your bill. I don't know, it just seems,
Yeah, I know, when we added the third rug, I go, why is this? And he goes, the third rug, and I go, oh, yeah, so that nobody fell, so, we'll be able to take it out, for the summer, and the bill should go down, but, right now they come, take them, give us new ones and move on. I even thought that maybe if we take our name off of them, because that was one thing that was, a little bit too much,
yeah.
but it made no difference whatsoever.
And the point of that is, that little $30 or $90 more, but a lot better than a lawsuit.
I was just gonna say, if somebody slips, oh my goodness.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, any other new business?
I have a question for Attorney Dietz. Because the decisions that we're making with the budget impact personnel and employees of the township, At what point do we consider that decisions are made, that are not based on seniority or rank or anything as arbitrary and capricious? And what guidelines does the board have to, or the trustees have to rectify that?
You're speaking of the assessor's office?
Well, any office, I don't care.
Well, if it's our employees, we certainly wanna go and discuss that. If we're talking about specific employees, we do that private. But with the assessor's office, unfortunately, we don't really have control over anything like that. We only have control over how much money you get.
And my thing is, this is also, this could, excuse me, also impact my bond as the treasurer of the township if he continues to.
Unfortunately, kinda like the last lawsuit, that was settled under, Bryce's tenure. Even though those were all Bryce's decisions, the board here had no
That's a good
control
point.
over it whatsoever.
But the lawsuit
But
would be
you'll have to-
our pay the bill.
Yes.
That's right,
And
and
it's
that's what I'm concerned about. I realize he has control, I understand what power he has. But the result of it will impact all of us.
The most we can do is say, hey, you know, you're potentially harming our liability, you know, please consult us with this, and if he doesn't, he doesn't. It's not like you can even make a judgment as to what's going on until somebody complains about it, because I'm sure that there are other things that are going on there too, that you don't know about, that we won't know about until we're sued.
It's a happy thought.
Yes. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none. Is there any public participation? No? Ann? None?
No.
All right, hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Good work.